All right, guys. So we are in day 2 of chapter 3, and we're going to grab our worksheet and start rolling. So if you look in the classroom, your worksheet for today is posted. Make sure you had submitted not only yesterday's worksheet, but also the assignment there yesterday that you had to do on top of that. Okay. So let's go ahead and jump into today's assignment. All right. You guys had the plagiarism poster you should have turned in yesterday. In today's assignment, you'll turn in 2 different ones, the worksheet as well as another assignment in the classroom. So starting off, just a little bit of a review. We talk about 3 types of digital media. Looking at your worksheet may not be on here, but make sure you guys still remember. Right on when we talk about digital media, think about what you generally going to look for online: photos, videos, and music. Those are your 3 types of digital media. Now, the reason that's important, generally those are the types of things that can be tied to piracy. Remember, piracy is the stealing or use of someone else's copyrighted material. All right, now copyright law protects authors of original content, of original works, things like that. And remember some examples of 3 things or different things that can be protected under copyright law. We got books, plays, music, different things like that. Okay. Whenever you use these items, it is very important you always cite your sources. All right. What are the potential consequences of piracy? Remember, piracy, if I thought I had the picture in here as well, is $250,000 and up to a 5-year fine. Generally, we see that as an example shown at the beginning of a movie. True or false? Giving a mixtape to your buddy is considered piracy? Technically, that would be true, right? You copy a bunch of songs you like onto a CD and give them away, you're costing that content creator money, and therefore you're breaking copyright law. All right, what must you do to avoid plagiarism? That is cite your sources. Okay. Now, might be jumping the gun here, so let's just make sure I'm going through all of these, and we'll keep rolling. Okay. Copyright law generally lasts 95 years if it's written under a pseudonym. Remember, if it is created by or if they're written under their original name, it is their lifetime plus 70 years. All right. Now, anything that runs out of copyright now falls under what is called public domain, which is now open to anyone to use in any way. So, for example, Steamboat Willie, the OG Mickey Mouse, pretty much, and Winnie the Pooh. But that is Winnie the Pooh without the red shirt only. That have now fallen into public domain. All right, 4 fair use guidelines. Oh, sorry. Okay. So to avoid plagiarism, you got to make sure you cite or acknowledge. Right, cite your source, acknowledge, give credit to who's due. And giving credit to someone for their work, you must include 3 things. All right. That is the name of the work, the original content creator, and the date. All right. The name, date, and the name of the work. All right, 4 factors a judge looks at to see if it falls under fair use guideline. Those 4 things: the purpose and character, what did you use, or why did you use it, the what you used, the nature of the work, the how much you used, the amount or portion used, and the effect. Did you cost the original creator money? Now, what I want you guys to do, go ahead and take a second. All right. The only thing other I left off of your worksheet there, what is the only way to determine a fair use claim? Well, is if it's a fair use claim, it's got to be under court, right? A judge determines that. So the only way to determine a fair use claim is to go under court. And what must you also include if information comes from a website? That is the URL. I think that answers all of those warm up and review questions there. If not, you can email me or just peruse through these slides and make sure you answer that. All right, so what you guys are going to do, activity 1, take a second, take a couple minutes actually, and click the link and go take the 1-minute typing test 3 times and record how many words per minute, WPM, right, words per minute you complete for each assignment or for each test you take. See who's the fastest time. Okay, you come back, unpause, and we'll keep going. Now, why is key speed important? Key speed is important because it is used in almost literally every single job now. All right, key speed, it doesn't matter if you're typing on a computer at McDonald's, if you're working as a mechanic, sending emails, or typing in the information for what you did to the car. It's important to keep records in almost every job, almost in some way or form. It's important to know key speed because time is money. Regardless if you are that mechanic. If it takes you 20 minutes to type an email because you're slow at typing, that's 20 minutes you're not making money on the job. So it's very important in some jobs to have good key speed. Okay, some obviously more important than other. What is a piece of technology that most businesses use? That is now Google Docs as a Gmail. All right, most technology is used is email and Google Workspace, Google Apps. Okay, Google Apps are so appealing and useful because they use the cloud. You can save things automatically cloud, access them wherever you are at. All right, trying to make sure I don't miss any of your questions here as I go through this. Okay. What are ethics? Ethics are pretty much doing things that are right, even though you may not have to, right? We obviously can use computers in ways that are not appealing or not the correct way, especially depending on what your beliefs are. But what our ethics are doing the good, just, and right, morally acceptable things. And there are plenty different ways to unethically use a laptop, such as stealing stuff online, cybersecurity, or cyber theft, cyberbullying, different things like that or various ways that are unethical to use a laptop. All right, take a second, and what I want you guys is consider some of these moral dilemmas and add some notes onto the worksheet. I didn't leave it in there because generally these are great questions to talk about in person, but take a second, read through these, and then talk with a person beside you and consider and compare what you guys think are right, see if it's the same. You may find that people have different ideas and thoughts, so do that. Generally, this is very fun excitement because I would mix these up and play devil's advocate and give you guys a couple different scenarios. Sadly, I won't be able there to do that for this time, but maybe when I get back. Now, let's talk about what is ransomware. Okay, so we talked about software being the non-physical components and hardware being the physical components, but ransomware is a type of software. You can't touch it, you can't necessarily control it to a degree, but ransomware, when you think of ransom, you think of a kid taken hostage in exchange for money. Well, ransomware is your files taken hostage in exchange for money. An example of this is I will link this video in here is WannaCry malware. All right, this ransomware came in, took hospitals' information, and held it hostage until a ransom was paid. Now, why is this a problem? You may not be like, well, if someone comes in unconscious and you don't know their blood type, you can't help them. If they're bleeding out, if you give them the wrong blood, it can cause their organs to shut down and a lot more issues to arise. So, things to consider. Now, generally, ransomware doesn't just come in, it's got to get in through some way, and that is where you hear about phishing emails. Phishing is when someone sends an email in an attempt to gain sensitive information. All right, so story time, yeah, just real short and quick to the point. My mom got a email saying, hey, your Amazon packages will be late. Click this link and we'll get you on time. My mom was not very prepared for that. I hadn't seen a lot of this phishing scams. So she goes in, puts in her information, and before she knows it, she is getting scammed out of money. And I told her, so let's tell you about a way to kind of head that off. I was like, Mom, were you expecting something? She's like, yeah, I was. I was like, okay. Did you look at the email? Yeah, it says it's from Amazon. I was like, no. Did you look at the email? Like, click the link, like, click the icon on the top, check the actual email address. She said, oh, no. So she goes in and looks, and she's reading it out to me, and she says, LA. I was like, read it out to me. She's like, well, she couldn't read it, so I was like, well, spell it out. It was LACON at hotskatinggrandma.com. I'm like, Mom, do you really think that came from Amazon? She realized her mistake, right? It was LACON, LACON, LACON at hotskatinggrandma.com. She very quickly understood and now knows what a phishing email is. So a couple things to look for, right? First of all, if she knew to look for that fake email address, she would have spotted it. Generally, it's going to have attachments or links that want you to click that's going to contain the virus. It's also going to be very generic, right? They're mass sending these out to a bunch of people. There's going to be a sense of urgency. They want you to get caught up and emotional in what's going on to just kind of do it, not think about it. And because they're just trying to churn these out and send them out to as many people, there's generally also poor grammar and another way to get the virus through bad links. Okay, so those are different things to look for as you look for them. Okay, so what is a phishing email? Is a fake email sent in an attempt to gain sensitive information. You can choose any of these like 6 different things to talk about the common ways to spot a phishing email. Now, what you guys are going to do, here's an example here, right? So if you look, That's not legit. Okay. If we look, very generic, what the problem is. All right, poor grammar. It's got to access the link. Different things there. Now, you guys are going to create your own phishing email. This is an example of one a student did from, right? So you guys will follow a template similar to this, right? Include to, from, date. All right, subject to gain attention. It generally helps make it look by adding this. You can highlight to make it look like you actually added a link, different things like this. But you guys are going to create your own phishing email and submit that in the classroom, and that will be your assignment for today. All right.